And I overheard, oh my God, is that Keanu Reeves? I'm like, and I'm looking at him going, stop, no, please don't, please. Every now and then you get pretty neat opportunities when you film cars. And one of the best ones I ever got was for Michelin, who is, you know, an incredible tire company. When I think of performance tires, I think of Michelin. And ironically, also 5-star dinners for some reason. But I had the opportunity to go to this event that was launching the PS4S tire. And we basically went there to almost taste test it in a way. So we went there and did autocrosses with it versus all the other brands and all that good stuff and saw what was the winner. And it was this huge media event. I mean, this media event had to have cost millions of dollars because they put us in a Ritz-Carlton in Palm Springs, and they had this huge stage set up. They had they had a Koenigsegg Agera RS there, like on display, and it felt like this very high-class dinner party, right? Where I felt like Happy Gilmore. I was in the wrong place. That's what it felt like. So going in, you know, I'm in like my hat and t-shirt and jeans, and like, oh, I didn't get the memo. I'm like, just like in Geneva in 2015, where I went there and did not get the memo. I'm like, here we go again. I get to Palm Springs, I go to the Ritz-Carlton, and, you know, you're walking around, you see this beautiful stage, tables with, you know, white tablecloths and an open bar and all this. I'm like, okay, I came here to drive, so what is all this? And basically Justin Bell, you know, Le Mans driver Justin Bell, gets up on stage. He's an amazing public speaker, and he is there to welcome all of us. So it's a mixture of YouTubers and kind of legitimate automotive journalists, I guess you could say, you know, from the magazines and other media outlets, which could not be farther apart when it comes to ideology. I personally think all this shebang was more catered to them, because I personally believe the YouTubers didn't really care that much. Like, you could have put us in like a Hampton Inn and been like, yeah, sure, whatever, we're here, you know? But this huge, extravagant event is going to take place. And Justin Bell's like, welcome to the Michelin pilot experience, etc., etc. And I look over to my left and I go like this, and then I look back, and then I go, wait, what? And I look over, and it's Keanu Reeves standing maybe 5-10 feet from me. And I have like a #1 rule if I'm ever going to talk to a celebrity, and that is just treat them like a completely normal person. Almost like you don't even know who they are. Because usually, if you do that, they take you more seriously. And also, it's probably a breath of fresh air, rather than just having, oh, tell me all about your movies. It's like, I wonder why he's here. Why is Keanu Reeves at the Michelin pilot experience? So I go over to one of the reps at Michelin. While this is all happening, Justin Bell's doing his speech. And he's doing great, but my brain's on fire. I'm sorry, Justin, but I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the Michelin rep. So I sneak over to the Michelin rep. I'm just kind of like, I got my little drink, and I'm like, hey, why is Keanu Reeves here? I'm just curious. And he goes, oh, well, he just started his own motorcycle company, and he got Michelin to make the tires for it. I'm like, wait, Michelin, I thought they didn't even make motorcycle tires. He goes, well, they do now. I was like, okay, fair enough. So I'm like, okay, so if I talk to Keanu Reeves, I should probably talk about his interests. Okay, so right after the speech ends, he walks right near me. So it was convenient. I didn't have to really go approach him and be like, yeah, you're a big fan. I went up to him and I said, hey man, how's the motorcycle company going? He goes, oh my gosh, thanks for asking. Everything's going great. And he has the same mannerisms as you would expect. It's Keanu, right? It's like, yeah, everything's going great. I'm so excited. It's so interesting seeing how far things have come, and et cetera, et cetera. And it was just really cool to see somebody as like high tier as Keanu Reeves just get really excited and giddy about something. All of the stories you've heard about people meeting him are 100% true. Incredibly nice, was pretty funny to talk to, had a good sense of humor, and I probably talked to him for roughly 15 minutes. However, in the middle of this very natural conversation with John Wick, across the party is another YouTuber who I'm not going to mention, is terrified of flying. So he flew in to Palm Springs and he had a lot to drink, and that tried to hinder his fear. But then he got to Palm Springs and had some more and had a lot more at the open bar. And he saw Keanu across the party. And I overheard, oh my God, is that Keanu Reeves? I'm like, and I'm looking at him going, stop, no, please don't, please. And he came up, put his hand on Keanu Reeves' shoulder. He goes, oh my God, dude, you're like such a nice guy. You like donate to charity, like ride the subway like everybody else. I'm like, oh my God, make it stop. And he's like, you gotta tell me about John Wick 2. Tell me everything about it. I'm like, this is everything I was trying to avoid this entire time, like going down the checklist. But here's the thing though, he didn't care. I think that's what really kind of shows somebody's character, right? Somebody who has made millions of dollars, who is reportedly given most of his money to special effects crews of The Matrix because he believed that the movies couldn't happen without them. I mean, that's the type of person he is. You're starting to see that character actually show. Like he was, instead of like telling him to go away, he was like, oh yeah, everything's going good, blah, blah, blah. And he brushes it off, everything's going good. It was just funny because Justin Bell finally finishes his speech like right as that interaction is happening. So as this loud conversation is happening, Justin Bell's trying to get through his speech, and I'm like, pay attention, Justin, come on, like be a little nice. The next morning, we're on the bus to go test out the new tire. And I was like, it's gonna be biased, like I don't know. You know, maybe there's something we don't know about the other tires. I'm thinking about the performance of this tire that just came out, not what happened with Keanu Reeves last night, because it was a pretty good interaction. I was like, I wonder if I'll run into him again. And I did, briefly. And at the next dinner, he just said, hey man, how'd your day go? Or whatever. And I was like, nice. It just was a good feeling. Especially when you've been watching somebody since you were a kid. But that person who got way too wasted the night before, right when the bus doors were closing to go to the racetrack, made it onto the bus. And I remember seeing him in hat and big shades. Just like he had a rough night and sat down, but then he got out to the track, did some laps, and was just fine. But it's just funny to see how eventually in life, somebody is going to starstruck you in some way. Even if it gets numb after a while when you meet celebrities or you meet big YouTubers or whatever, eventually there's gonna be that one person where you said, wow, I really didn't think I'd ever run into them. And I just would like to make it very clear that my experience, even though it was brief and it's a funny story, it's just great to see that there are big celebrities out there that still treat other people like normal people. And it's just cool because he's an automotive enthusiast, or more so a motorcycle enthusiast. And I got to learn from him because I know diddly squat about motorcycles. So he was asking me about cars, and I'm like, Keanu Reeves asking me about freaking cars. It was crazy. And then he's teaching me about motorcycles. And it was just an overall amazing experience. So thank you, Michelin, for one of the best stories I've ever had in my life.
Premier Financial Services has been a sponsor of VINwiki for the last 4 years, and we can't thank them enough for their support, and we love them for that, but also because their Simple Lease truly is a tremendous product in the world of exotic car financing. They allow you to minimize your payment, minimize your down payment, take all the tax advantages that are available for a lease, while still giving you the ability to move in and out of cars and accumulate equity. So they structure it in a very unique way that's hugely advantageous, gives you a lot more buying power, and their customer service is absolutely incredible. So we love Mitch and their team for their continued support of the channel. We thank them for that, but please visit them at the link in the description below and find out how easy it is to buy your dream car through Premier Financial Services.